Hi, welcome back to the show. We still have about 10 more minutes. Today we will open with a big gap up of about 3%. That's what the SGX 50 is suggesting. But how long that actually lasts, not too many people are convinced about that. Nevertheless, we have a couple of guests joining in on the show. Ambrish Baliga of Edelweiss is with us and Vinod Sharma of HDFC Securities also joins in. Gentlemen, good morning to all of you. Ambrish, first a word from your end. How do you approach the markets now and what would you be buying today?
I think it's a great opportunity for those who had missed out selling out earlier and had got stuck. So I think Fed has clearly given them that opportunity to possibly book out at those higher levels, because I really don't know as to how long the markets will hold on at the 6,100, 150 levels.
Okay, VK, your first trading call today?
I think first trading call obviously has to be a private bank, and Yes Bank is going to be the call. The stock which has punished the most deserves the cheers today, and I think you can buy at the open no matter what the price is. If you're buying an option price, options are there, so it automatically takes care. So if I were to give you a really an option called Yes Bank, I think buy the 320 call which was available at around maybe 16. But the fact is, whether it's Yes Bank or ICICI Bank or another bank that we are talking about levels at which to buy is immaterial today, because they're going to open with an upward gap. Important thing is to participate in the uptrend, because this is a real surprise. It has surprised the markets positively, so therefore there is further room to go. And the fact that a lot of calls for return, either the Bank Nifty or the other places, I think short covering. So instead of people like Ambrish going out and buying, it is the people who are short in the market will go and cover, which will take the market up and will ensure that probably in September itself we make a new high in the Nifty.
Okay. So Darshan, like you were pointing out, it may be difficult in opening trade to buy because the gap up will not allow you to do that. But in your list of stocks, you have a buy on Coal India. You think from the frontliners that's a good opportunity today?
It's an excellent opportunity. Some stocks are going to be a little laid back. Coal India may not give us the same kind of gaps, which tells us that there is the opportunity that exists. See, there are two things. First is that in this market we should be remaining long. The market trend is up. I've explained this earlier also. Now, in this long position, you don't actually go headlong and buy at the open. You wait patiently, and intraday traders know it. Clearly, what they require is a list of stocks to buy. Coal India goes in that list. At the top of that list, wait patiently, buy a 15-minute breakout, buy a consolidation, but take a long position here.
Okay. Ambrish, point taken about getting another chance to sell off what you didn't like, but what would be one long call that you can give?
No, I think over the next few days, since you'll have this momentum for a while, I think the two sectors which could really perform is metals, and the second one is banks, which have been beaten down for quite a while. So that's another space where you could see some upside, and especially the private sector banks, like what was just discussed. I think Yes Bank can move up, Axis, HDFC Bank. I think these are the two or three banks where I think one can go long from a short-term perspective.
Vinod, you're approaching ICICI from the options perspective. What are your levels?
I told you, Lata, that today it will be very difficult to talk about, but let me tell you what I've suggested. In terms of ICICI Bank, I'm suggesting buying the 1000 call at around 25 rupees, a stop loss of 15, but you're not going to get at 25, you're going to get at probably the target what I'm talking about, maybe 50. So one will have to judge, and we'll have to be very clear that if the prices run up, you don't buy the 1000 call, you probably buy the 1150 or whatever the call is available, which is near the price. You shouldn't buy too much into the money.
Vinod, for the immediate term, a sustenance above what level on the Nifty will give you conviction to initiate a fresh long position after we see this sort of gap up opening?
Sunil, let me make it clear that I don't have to wait for a particular level for a conviction to come. The conviction is still there because the market is going to take up a lot of people by surprise. People are not, the people were braced for a fall, and it is going to surprise on the higher side. So therefore, it will be very difficult. It's a very tough call. So therefore, and I might seem too risky, but I'm suggesting that you buy the call, whatever is near the market, near the current price, and therefore my sense is, as and when 6,100 will be crossed, that is definitely going to be crossed, and therefore the next level will come up as 6,200. Then you will say that 6,357 is the level, and only when the 6,357 level that we saw on January 8, 2008, when that is crossed, then the people who are not buying now will gather the courage to tiptoe back into the market, and probably from there onwards, what the market, the sell-off may happen. So if you want to participate, the time to participate is now, before Mr. Our governor has a go at the things.
Okay, Sudarshan, can you map your strategy on Tata Power?
Well, Tata Power again comes in the list of buying opportunities. I want to repeat this. This is not a day to short sell. You take profits or you buy intraday consolidations, buy intraday breakouts. Tata Power is coming out of a trading range. It's a positional buy. It's not just a day trading buy. So in any case, try to be on the long side with this one.
Okay. Ambrish, in yesterday's trade, actually for the last couple of days, there's been some buying action in some of the other heavyweights, ex-banks, LNTs, ITCs, HULs of the world. Any short-term trades that you would identify in some of these other nifty stocks?
I think something like L&T, where we have seen some amount of momentum. I think, that's one space where you could see the stock still going up further, because the way it has underperformed in the last 3 or 4 months, clearly I think that makeup will happen over the next few days.
Okay. Vinod, can you give us some targets in stocks or targets in terms of sells? Where do you think that might work?
In terms of short selling?
Yes.
Lata?
Yes. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I won't short sell, because it is people might think that because the rupee is going to appreciate and therefore IT, there is an opportunity in IT to short sell. But the fact is that these large cap stocks in IT, if the buying happens in the Nifty per se, which is going to happen, so therefore you will find that sooner or later these stocks will bouncing back from the lows that they make during the course of the day. So my sense is, in case so going short even in IT stocks is, although these may underperform the market, but I wouldn't hazard a guess in terms of going short at this point of time. I would rather say if the Nifty IT stocks for 2 days, maybe third day or the second day you can go out and buy, but I wouldn't hazard a short sell at this point of time.
Okay guys, stay on. We'll come back just in time for the pre-opening. About 5 more minutes to go. We'll be back.
MCX Stock Exchange, India's new stock exchange, presents Bazaar Morning Call.
Hi, welcome back to the show. Just about 2 more minutes to go, but let's get our research team in now. Virender Bansal joins us now. He's done an analysis on which are the companies that are most sensitive to the currency, so which have the highest amount of unhedged loans as a percentage of the PBT and may actually react in today's trade. Virender, over to you.
Well, clearly, these are the name of the stocks, where you could see the unhedged forex loan is the highest in the industry. Of course, the Adani Group and all the OMCs will top the list. Adani Power, which has an unhedged forex loan of nearly 25,000 crores. If you see the M2M as a percentage of PBT for this company is more than 250%. So this could react with the depreciating, with the increase, the rebound in rupee what we have seen. Reliance Communication with the unhedged loan of nearly 27,000 crores is another company to watch out for, where the M2M as percentage of PBT is more than 230%. Adani Enterprise with the loan, unhedged forex loan of nearly 31,000 crores. As I said, most of the OMCs will be there. So HPCL, BPCL are another companies. In terms of telecom, Bharti tops the list, because if you just see, Bharti has an unhedged exposure of nearly 55,000 crores. In terms of power, if you're looking out for, then it's Power Grid and Tata Power, which are the companies to watch out in that space. Also, you have JP Associates and Bharat Forge, which are important to watch out for today, because JP Associates unhedged forex exposure is nearly 5,000 crores, which could be material to watch out for. Reliance Infrastructure, which has unhedged foreign exposure of nearly 27,000 crores. So these are the big companies, which are very sensitive in terms of the currency movement, and you could see some positive impact with the rebound in the Indian rupee, in the market today.
Oh yes, so for the Adanis, it's not Modi but Ben Bernanke who's going to make a seminal difference. Those are the two stocks, Adani Power and Adani Enterprises, which have a huge amount of unhedged loans, and therefore the mark-to-market loss as a percentage of the PBIT, or the percentage of the profit will be high. So those companies to watch out for. But we are just seconds away from the pre-market data coming in. Okay, just 1 second away. We should get the pre-market rates, and let's see if it's as gung-ho as the SGX Nifty indicated, 3% higher. So no holds barred movement. That's almost 6,050, and this looks credible because it's backed up by the Sensex also moving in a similar fashion. It's 1.1% higher on the Sensex, 1.2 at this point in time, and let's get the Nifty going as well. Nifty up 1% now, so a bit of a moderation coming in below the 6,000 mark. Well, this is let's face it, these are just pre-market rates, but any specific stocks?
Well, it is the banks, Lata. So we were talking about that, how there will be a fillip today. ICICI, Kotak, PNB, IndusInd Bank, HDFC Bank. You hit a dart in the banking space and you might just get it right. Apart from that, yesterday, we saw some buying action in some of the other blue chip names, L&T, etc., and that continues. So L&T up 2.5%. BHEL may be on the on the radar as well on the upside, up about 3%. It's a secular move on the upside. I don't think there's anything to worry about on the downside. If anything, TCS down about 7%. I don't think that will materialize, but maybe you could see a shift away from defenses and into some of these high beta names. So something like FMCG, ITC is down about 3%. HCL Tech is down about 2% or so.
No, I don't think you should call about.
And that's the opening on the rupee, by the way, 61.70. So that is the opening that the market would have loved to see.
Absolutely, 1.5 rupees, and that was what that was the talk pre-market, that the rupee might, the dollar will be 1.5 rupees cheaper. But let's salivate over the stocks that have opening at 10% higher. PNB up 10%, Kotak Mahindra 10%, Yes Bank, Canara Bank, IndusInd Bank, all of them 10%. Bank of India as well, actually. ICICI 7.9, HDFC Bank 5.9, and then come the NHPCs, the BHEL, Sesagoas, all of those up about 3%. So a pre-market indicating that banks will rule the roost, and there'll be a couple of other metal companies also that will be up and about. But importantly, the Nifty itself indicating a 1.2% gain, and the Sensex about 1 point. Sensex today is showing a bigger gain, 1.7 at this point in time. But I think we should broadly just take the direction at this point in time. Both the indices are going to open definitely with over 1% gains. I would think it's getting underplayed. It could be even better. But a person whom we would love to hear today is with us. Udayan Mukherjee joins in. Good morning, Udayan. Really good to have you on the show today. What is your sense tactically this market becomes a buy, and what are we really going to get to the all-time high, 6,300?
Well, you were asking yesterday, Lata, whether it's 6,100 or 5,500 first, and I think the first part of that question has got answered. We are going to 6,100 first. So I think this is one of those dangerously thrilling kind of phases in the market. Not a lot is going for it fundamentally, but the most important near-term trigger, which is liquidity, has become much better, and therefore you're seeing the massive reactions play out in both stocks and equities across emerging markets. But it's difficult to say where this momentum wave can carry us. 6,100 is almost here. I mean, we are probably standing in the cusp of a 5 to 6% rally immediately, half of which will probably get covered this morning, and we may rally on to something in the vicinity of 6,200. Whether are we going to an all-time high? Momentum can take us there. From 6,200, the all-time highs is just about 3% odd. So, I mean, that's a day's work on current reckoning. But you just have to sit back and look at what the economic fundamentals are, and then ask whether this market deserves to be trading at an all-time high. You will find that the answer probably is unequivocally no. But that may not stop the market in the throes of the kind of serious momentum that the Fed has injected with its surprising move last night. So right now it's about momentum. I think for traders, the big call is, for most traders who would have been long, and I imagine most traders would have been carrying long positions going into yesterday, if they were carrying any positions at all, The big thing is trade management at this point for today, on whether you take up profits on a very large proportion of your profits or the positions that you're running, or you let them run for another 100-150 points on the Nifty, and yes, similarly corresponding on the Bank Nifty as well.
Okay, hi Udayan, good morning, good to see you. And by the way, the market has tempered its exuberance a little bit now. It's up just about 50 odd points on the index. But, we were asking most market participants since the start of trade what they would be doing now in terms of a strategy. And most pointed out that they would use this rally, every rally, to sell into this market. Do you concur that that should be the orientation?
That actually is a very bullish kind of sign for the market, Sonia. But I think this market probably tops out here when you hear far more bullish commentary. But as long as traders are telling you this is an exit sign, you should take profits and run, I think the markets will probably run on some more. So the market will stifle or frustrate this kind of consensus view that markets topping out at 6,000 or 6,100 kind of level. But I think if you get to those 6,200 plus kind of levels, a lot of people, you will hear a lot of chatter on television on how there has been a trend reversal, whether this is the start of another bull market, whether a close above 6,100 sort of negated many of the negative signs which had cropped up on the charts when the index broke down to 5,200, and now it's the start of a much bigger spiral up. I think the more you hear of that kind of optimism which creeps in, probably after a few successive closings above 6,100, that's the time you start to get more worried that the market's getting overbought, people are getting more bullish, and this on the face of what is a fairly weak set of fundamentals. And if you go back in history and map these phases where markets fundamentally don't have much to rise on, but they keep on rising because of liquidity and sentiment changes for the better, that, as I say, is typically that dangerously thrilling phase in the market, which usually ends with a lot of grief for traders and investors. I think we'll get there in the next few days, but just wait it out for a bit longer before you call in all your cards, because right now I also hear a lot of people saying this is an exit opportunity, 6,100 and no further, and typically that kind of trading consensus is proved wrong by a market which is riding on serious momentum.
Point taken, Udayan. I mean, nothing has changed in terms of GDP forecasts, fiscal deficit forecasts, current account deficit forecasts. Those troubles linger and we shouldn't lose sight of that. But nevertheless, with the terrain changing externally, at least for now, what do you expect from the RBI tomorrow? Would at least, the NBFCs or banks like Yes, which depend on wholesale money, has the terrain altered for them?
It's possible, Lata, that RBI probably has more elbow room to fan the flames of the market a bit more when it meets tomorrow. Raghuram Rajan, I must say, is a very lucky man. He's walked in with the rupee pulling back, and he's got exactly what he would have wanted to hear from the Fed. Does that give him the elbow room with the rupee now probably looking like it's going to be anchored closer to 60, 61 than closer to 70, and that's a big departure in the trend of the last few weeks. Does it let him tweak with the MSF and the CRR changes that were ushered in by his predecessor on the 15th of July? If that happens, you will probably get a little bit more of the fanning of the flames in the market, and that might add another 100 points to the Nifty. It could also lead to a lot of the stocks that you mentioned, NBFCs particularly, and the beaten down smaller private banks actually covering up a lot of their recent losses. That's entirely possible as a trade. So we'd wait to hear from him tomorrow. But from what one knows of Raghuram Rajan, he's a prudent man, and his mentality probably may differ a little bit from the trader. He probably understands more than most traders that this is a temporary reprieve for the rupee. It's probably a 2-month window of reprieve. Again, come the end of November, people will start talking about the fact that the time has come for taper, and at that point the pressures on the rupee might return. So if Raghuram Rajan sees over the next few days and weeks that the government takes some decisive actions on moving on diesel prices by 5 or 6 rupees, I think that will give him far more ammunition, because those are medium-term steps, not just a big aberration on the rupee because of a liquidity signal from the US Fed. So he'll understand that this strength in the rupee cannot be extrapolated ad infinitum beyond December, January, and therefore he may not react quite as the same gung-ho manner as traders are likely to react this morning.
Yes, clearly he is destiny's child, as we guys have been discussing here. But then what does an investor do at this point? Because, most people miss that swift pullback from 5200 to 6100. And now if there is more on the cards, as liquidity is suggesting, is this the time to be accumulating, or do you just sit back? What does an investor do?
I think most traders, you're right, Sonia, missed a large part of the rally, but I think some people might have started participating around 5750, 5800. For them, I mean, they can play on this rally and just keep raising the trailing stop losses, because you don't know where this rally is going to end. And the best way to trade a rally momentum move, I've seen in the past, is not to define a point like 61, 62, 63, but just say, let the market tell me when it's stopping out, and you keep trailing those stop losses higher. I think stop losses now will probably go up above 6,000. If the Nifty does go above 6100, I think that 6080 kind of level will be a level which a lot of people might trail their stop losses up to, even that much or that high. So that's easy for the trader. You just trade long with a trailing stop loss. When the market turns, you get to preserve a lot of your profits and get knocked out. For tactical sector positions right now, I think for the near term, clearly financials and rate sensitives and rupee sensitives, in terms of people who have large rupee debt, those are the sectors which will perform the best. IT probably and pharmaceuticals will probably take a back seat. So traders will have to take those kind of tactical positions. Investors, I would suggest you do the opposite. If the market runs up to 6200 plus, I think would be a great opportunity for investors to align their portfolio against rate sensitives and towards rupee sensitives once again, for people who have a horizon of more than 6 months, because ultimately high quality and the fundamentally stronger sectors which are exhibiting growth will do better, even if they underperform tactically in the near term, as looks most likely.
Okay, then does the terrain change for that pro DM away from EM trade that we saw in the last 6 months or 6 to 8 months? Is it possible that because the Fed has also tempered the GDP forecast from 2.3 to 2.6, it's become 2 to 2.3, is there a likelihood of a pro EM and less of a pro DM trade playing?
Trade is the word you use, Lata, and that's entirely possible. In fact, a part of that has played out. If you look back over the last 2 or 3 weeks, some part of it is already playing out. This ETF money which walked in about 15-20 days back was playing exactly for this trade to sort of blossom over the next few weeks and months, that beaten down emerging markets will stage a comeback as the Fed gives a bit of a liquidity reprieve for many of these beaten down asset classes. But I think this trade is not starting right now. I think this trade is quite mature. You've already seen a fairly biggish kind of move in most emerging market equities and a fairly biggish move in most emerging market currencies. So the trade that you're referring to does not begin this morning. I would even go on to say that maybe 60-70% of this trade has already played out. So you're probably walking into the last innings of this trade. It might carry on for a few more weeks. But my bigger fears are that next time there is a big global correction, this kind of dissonance between developed markets and emerging markets may not necessarily be in place. You will remember big corrections, global corrections in the past, and sometimes they have coincided. Developed markets and emerging markets have fallen together. We've only got lulled into these developed markets outperforming emerging markets. It's a far more recent phenomenon. So do not rule out, whenever the next big global correction happens for whatever reason, that you might even have a synchronized fall in developed markets and emerging markets. But this morning may not be a good time to talk about all of that, because this morning the green blinkers are on. Just one other small point, Lata, on this whole question which inevitably will come to the fore in the next couple of days, on whether a new bull market trend is starting with the Nifty climbing to 61, 62 or whatever, 6300. And I think you will probably want to look back into the building blocks of a bull market, and you will find that barring temporary expectations of more benign global liquidity, none of the other building blocks of a bull market are there. Valuations are not cheap. India is trading at probably 16 times current year's expected earnings and 14 times FY15. Growth is just not there. And you go back and ask anybody whether an asset class which is probably exhibiting 5% earnings growth should be trading at 16 times 1 year forward, and most people will tell you that that's an expensive asset class. So I don't think we have valuations on our side, we don't have growth on our side, we certainly don't have leadership, and our investment cycle is still dead. These combinations do not usually, 9 times out of 10, spark off a bull market. So we'll get a tactical rally, we are already in the midst of it, but when people start getting carried away and saying, forget the past 50 to 100, we've got a bottom and a new bull market has started, I think it would be good to just keep some of your lessons from history in mind.
Okay, just a couple of stocks, so then we don't have too much time. Reliance, ITC, HUL, all these heavyweights, I have seen good moves. Do you expect more there, ex-banks?
It's possible, but I would suggest that for now, if you're doing a trade, focus on rate sensitives and rupee sensitives. Some of these heavyweights will tag along because the Nifty might pull them, but I think the juice is probably in some of the sensitive sectors.
Thanks a lot, Udayan, for joining us. And the first rates in the market are 3% higher, 2.82 higher on the Nifty, the Sensex as well up with the 2.8%. So 20,500 has been scaled with these, 3% now on the Nifty, 6,100 in sight, 6,086 as I speak. I think it's important to pull the bank Nifty as well and the banking stocks where inevitably the gains are coming. ICICI Bank up 8.4%, Punjab National Bank 5.8%, State Bank 5%, HDFC Bank 5.3%. That's the list of banks. Why isn't Axis there? What's Axis doing? Axis should be just as good, and one more Nifty, bank stock not in the Nifty. Yes Bank, we should pull that one up as well because yes, I mean that has to be because the market punished it mercilessly because it's it's a wholesale borrower. What's the wholesale rate now? The government itself is borrowing much cheaper from 8.5%, 8.2, 8.15 I saw on the 10-year. You must expect the cost of money for these banks to fall, and Yes Bank tactically raised that overseas bond as well, so that must be the best beneficiary. But there are others. Maruti up 6.8%. I saw DLF among the gainers, 6.08%. So interest rate sensitives basically doing well, and then come the rest. So it's interest rate sensitives, and then the rest, which is Larsen up 4.3, BHEL 3.5, Tata Steel 3.5, SAIL 3.5, Tata Power 3. On goes the rest. Just a word of tempering. Is there anything in the red at all? HCL Technologies. Obviously, the 70% winner of the year is down 2.9%, Wipro down 2%, TCS 0.5%. But mid caps is celebrating an early Diwali.
Well, it's a sideshow, the mid-cap index today. It's all about the frontliners and how they're moving. So the mid-cap index is higher, of course, almost 2%, but pales in comparison to the gains from the frontliners. Yes Bank, you pointed out, up about 16%. OBC is up 7%. Union Bank, Dena, the whole lot really. Canara Bank, all up about 5 to 7 odd %. Some of these finance companies are doing well. So PFC is up about 6%. LIC Housing Finance is up 5.5%. And some of these other rate sensitives, real estate is tagging along. So HDIL, etc., Unitech are all up about 4 to 5% or so. The beaten down infrastructure names are also piping in. So IVRCL, Suzlon, GVK Power, etc. are up about 4 to 5%. So these are the pockets really, the highest of high beta, as well as some of the rate sensitives like banks, which are the main gainers. On the downside, I can't see anything at all. So it's pretty much a secular rally that you're seeing. Suzlon, by the way, is up 5.5% because the company has sold 75% stake in its Chinese arm and has raked in about close to $30 million for that. So Suzlon is reacting on the upside. And by the way, the frontliners are what you should be looking at, because now we're closer to the 6,100 level, 60-70 on the Nifty, and it's all courtesy the banking names along with some of the other heavyweights as well, like L&T and Bharti, that are participating in the action. But our guests are with us.
Keep the bank Nifty up a little more, 6.5%.
Yeah, okay. Let's come at 11,120. So clearly playing by the book, as many have been telling us. But Vinod Sharma and Sudarshan Sukhani are still with us. Sudarshan, on the long trade now, where should I be placing my stop loss? Will you be moving your stop loss higher? And at the 6,060 level on the index, how would you approach the rest of the day?
No, there are no stop losses. You just